What's up, everyone? This is my attempt at making a book channel, I guess. Booktube, the book reading sphere on YouTube. I used to read a little bit when I was younger, but I recently, like a couple months ago, I was watching some videos on YouTube, and they were about books, and they just made me so interested in these stories that I just wanted to get as much information as possible. So I started reading, and the books that I picked, I really liked. So keeping a record of what I thought about them just made sense, and that's how this was birthed. So already this is a bit of a late upload, a bit. There were some issues, like my microphone wasn't working. It's like, I guess like at the beginning it's always like that, but I want to upload something, you know what I mean? I just wanted to start. Last month though, I read 5 books. Lightning McQueen of the book sphere dude here on YouTube. Here's the thing, I don't think it's getting a lot better next month, considering like some days have already passed and like I can like see the pace that we're going, but it's not getting worse. These were the books that I read last month. I guess this is the way that you guys can actually read. Other than that, there's not much else to say than to get into the books. There's a bit of a change on how this looks. Bear with me, guys. The quality and like the setup, it'll all improve with time. It was a pretty varied month. I mean, there is a trilogy that I read that takes up most of the pages read, but the other 2 books are very different. I feel like I need to do that or else I'll go crazy. The 3-Body Problem. So this is the Remembrance of the Earth's Past trilogy. This is the first book. Chinese author Cixin Liu. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. This was really what got me back into reading. So I feel like from now on it's always gonna have like a special place. Now this is a series more to like explore ideas more than like getting really in depth into a character's mind. That's especially evident in this first one. I think every single one of these books has characters that like will create emotions for you, right? Like they're not dead. There's characters in this series that made me very angry. There's characters that made me very sad. There's also like some joy in the series, but it explores a little bit of like the darker side of people. Now, this is hard to say because, like as I said, this is what got me back into reading, and this book obviously like introduces the ideas that are like later developed and like expanded in the other 2 books. But this is the only one that like I have like a slight issue with. It is for sure a spoiler, so I won't go in depth in this video, but we could certainly talk about the series like in a longer video where we're not so worried about spoilers. I'll just say this. Maybe this also depends on like my limited knowledge on like physics, but there's something that happens in this book that isn't really like this is theoretically possible, or like if this way of looking at things that we can't possibly confirm is correct, then this could happen. What actually happens in that part of the book that I'm referencing is something that we know for a fact can't happen, at least from like how I understand it, and it's a key part of the book. Since everything in the series in general is so like elegant, even the craziest things, they're based at least on things that like could be possible, or they're based on really exaggerating how we understand certain ideas that we have, right? But this certain one, it's just a little bug, right, that I have with this one specifically. Now, other than that, if you like sci-fi, if you like, and I'll give more of an overall look on it as we move on through these. Yeah, it's the next day. As I was saying though, if you like sci-fi, do not pay attention to what I said about the little thing that I have against the book. It's still so worth it. This series in general is so good. It'll make you think about so many things, so many concepts that like I honestly didn't even know existed, but are presented in a way that like first are so easy to grasp, and second they just make you like intensely curious to just find out more about them, you know? The Dark Forest. Second book in the trilogy. I've been torn since I finished the series. I thought that it would be clearer with time, but I'm still pretty torn on which my favorite book is. It's between this second one and the third one. The first one presents a lot of ideas, and it's a pretty interesting mystery. This second one clears up most of what's happening and just offers so much space battles. Who doesn't like space battles, dude? A really, really interesting discussion about like the hubris of man. Different really, really smart characters with like master plans. That if those types of things call you, do not listen to me anymore. Just read this. The main character in this second book is, I think, the best out of the main characters. For a while, he seems like he neglects everything. I'll just say that it's a character that we don't really understand in depth almost until the series is over. And probably my favorite part about this book is just a really elegant and really fun solution to the Fermi paradox. Just adds so much to the feelings that they capture in this book. The feeling of like how fragile life is. How all these things that like are infinitely important to humanity. Everything that we've created, everything that, you know, we've built until now, how fragile it is. So if you like space war, it's an interesting type of space war. It's like a space. Listen, man, I won't describe it really to like too much because I feel like I'm getting into like spoilers. The chunkiest one, the third one in the series, Death's End. I did experience like some frustrations with the main character of this book, not in how it's written, and like even reading it, and for sure after when you've thought about it a lot more, you know it's not her fault, and it's more of a collective. The thought of like how could we be like so stupid as like a species, you know, is very strong. I don't know if all intelligent life is like that, but at least in this book, it's really clear how like difficult it is for humans to like be calm, single into like an objective and work together. Like it's very, very difficult. The correct idea of like the correct path to take never seems to be clear for us. A lot of times we can't even agree on like what result we want. You know what I mean? But this book is really crazy. I'm not really even sure how to describe the amount of time that passes in this book. The things that it makes you think about are really like bigger than like every single one of like our individual lives or like humanity even, as a sense. As I said, like it solves a lot of issues in like a really elegant way, and if it's truly the reality that we live in, then it's like it's pretty bleak, bro. I'm not gonna lie. The good thing about it, and I think it's like it's a message from the book, is that the people that are involved in like all those decisions are a select few, and most of civilization, most of like our species can just chill out. The thing is, like, they'll probably choose not to, and I'm not even sure if I should say that, because like even in this book, it's like there are some clear like periods in history where, you know, most people suffer. But even then, I think like if you look at it the right way, there could be like some solace, like something that helps you a little bit when you realize like your own insignificance, at least in like the reality of this universe that this man created. Very, very interesting. I would highly recommend it if you like sci-fi. Obviously, I don't think it's really that complex, at least how it's explained. It'll make sense. If you like philosophy, there's plenty of crazy, grandiose thinkers. There's plenty of people that don't care. There's a spectrum that you can see on how people react to things, and I don't know, man. We might go a little more in depth. There's things that I would love to talk about without being scared of spoilers, like dimensional reduction. I think that's in the first book. They start doing crazy things with protons, and like, oh man, it's just, these concepts are so mind-blowing. We should explore them sometime. I don't know what my next video is going to be. Maybe we'll talk about this series a little more in depth. There's another book that I read recently that might be that next video, but we'll see. This is definitely something that I would thoroughly enjoy talking about more. The next book, Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I am not used to reading things like this, but I am used to now. I will keep looking for what this book gave me forever. It was something that I read in 2 days. For me, that's very, very quick. The way that it's written is so fun. Just makes you want to like finish the book in one sitting, you know? The main character is so likable and so like passionate and like curious about his own world that like it rubs off on you very, very quickly. And I don't think this is a spoiler, like as a reader you soon realize that not only you but the main character doesn't know key aspects of what's going on, and that mystery like ties in with the mystery of the world that you're inhabiting. It keeps building and it concludes in a way that's like a little darker than I thought it was gonna end. Especially, I'm not gonna say anything more on that end. I caught myself, I was about to like dive a little deeper, but yeah, it ends a little darker than I expected, which like it was surprising, but it was enjoyable for sure, at least in how I see it. So besides the main character being very likable and making you root for him, like from the beginning of the book, the world that you inhabit with this character is equally as important. It's a house, a mansion, that has infinite hallways, infinite rooms, vestibules, has different floors, and each floor also extends to infinity from what we understand. It's also very, very unique in how it's decorated. I'll leave it at that. But it just sparks you with this curiosity as soon as you pick it up. That's really special. And honestly, man, this is also a book that's gonna have a special place in my heart forever. The 3-body series, Earth's Remembrance, I always forget what the actual name of the trilogy is, was what got me back into reading, but this expanded my horizons a little bit. It expanded what I thought I enjoyed. I always thought that like fantasy like this I wouldn't enjoy as much, and I was wrong. It transported me a little bit back to when like as a kid I would read things and it would just ensnare me, enchant me, and I couldn't move away from it. So yeah, Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. If you want adventure, man, if you want a mystery, amazing book. Last book that I read last month, Panenka by Rónán Hession. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Also a book that broadened a little bit my taste, or what I thought my taste was. It's, how would I describe this, man? I'm not really like too well versed in like the genres. I guess that's kind of a stupid thing to say, but sometimes I'm not sure what genre something is. So I guess for next time I'll do better research. But this is, if like, I would describe it as like a slice of life type book. There's a romance as well. You explore the mind of several different characters. Panenka, the title guy, being the main one. And it's just about everyday life for these people. Obviously it explores some deeper themes. Like I feel like one of the key ones is how sometimes by trying to hold ourselves accountable, we transform that into just this need to like feel guilt paying for what you did, or but then what that does is not only hurt you but destroy everybody that really, really cares about you. If left unchecked, that maybe noble feeling of like knowing you made a mistake and wanting to atone for it, you just transform it into punishment for not only yourself but the people that love you. Sometimes just forgiving yourself helps everybody else more. It's not like it's an easy thing to do for anybody. I mean, I guess everybody views their life and like their situations differently. Viewing it from the outside, you could say, especially like the mistake that happens in this book, you could say like, man, you don't deserve to be miserable for that. But people are different and they take things differently. Yeah, I guess that's the nice thing about this book. It gives you a deeper look into that. And what I also liked about it is that it does end in a hopeful note. Most of the characters that you follow for longer have either a hopeful ending or they're on the right track to being better off. You know what I mean? Again, I will always really appreciate this book. I didn't think I would enjoy a book like this. There's really no villain. There's really no huge stakes. It's not that book. It's not about that. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It surprised me, and I will always appreciate it for that. It made me really happy that I can read other things and enjoy them. That way I won't burn out as easily. Again, it was kind of like a simple overview of most of these books. Obviously, completely new at this, so I feel like a recap video is more of like a recommendation video, more than like me actually telling you exactly what happens. I didn't want to ruin a video that, a book that you might want to read in the future. That being said, a lot of these books I wouldn't mind, all of them honestly. I wouldn't mind talking about them in more depth. We'll see how that goes and what we decide. It's already been like 9 days in this month, so that's not good. Especially like this video being what I read in a past month. But things should get a little less busy with work and everything else, so I should be able to pick up the pace a little bit. I did read already one book this month, which was A Case of Conscience by James Blish. Crazy book. That one I might just make a video straight up. It's short, but it's nuts, man. I'm currently reading I Am Legend. I'm like 30 pages in. I remember watching the movie when I was a kid, and I saw the book and I was like, let's just give it a shot. It's a page turner. Like, it's the little time that I had for it, like it's been calling me to read it again. There is one thing that I don't remember from the movie. He wants to get freaky with the vampires, which I don't I don't know why, dude. It's weird. He's like, don't think about that. Don't think about, I hope it just stays at the beginning of the book like a weird thing, and we don't like explore it more. You know what I mean? But I'll obviously finish it. What else I have planned for the rest of the month? I got Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So many people saying amazing things about it. I just need to read it. And The Sailor Who Fell from Grace with the Sea by Yukio Mishima. I didn't say that it was by Douglas Adams. But yeah, I mean, all I know is a pretty heavy story. That's what I've heard. There might also be time for an extra book this month. I'm deciding between a few candidates, but I'll just leave that as a surprise. Well, guys, I think that's my first video here on the channel. I'm pretty hype, honestly, to keep going and see where this goes and how long I can like manage to keep uploading and keeping a record of what I think about these books. But yeah, with all that being said, I'll see you guys next time.